Hello, my name is David Ramirez.
Hello, my name is Juan Gonzalez, and we're going to explain you how the UDP sender receiver for data strings work.
This is lab number 2 for EE3354. The software we will use for this lab, it's LabView. We will use 2 computers, and the purpose of the lab is to communicate one computer with the other and send strings.
For this lab, we had to check if the communications were established correctly. So first of all, we had to check the IP addresses from each of our computers. And then after that, we had to use a ping command to see if both computers were connecting correctly. So now I test the computer, and apparently it's responding, so both are connected. And now we're gonna check if the other computer is also connected. So now we can see here that both computers are replying to each other. One has a bit of a lag, but both are connected correctly. On our block diagram, we can see here the components. So this first component, what it does is opens a UDP communication. It takes a local port, and then it sends out a connection ID, and then sends an error that goes inside a for loop that is executed n times, and we can control it by a control called repetitions that's going to be in our visual interface. Now, all of this goes to our write UDP, and then it takes a port in here. It also takes a data string, which is what we're sending, and it takes the error in, and it also takes the remote port, and it takes the remote host if it's given, or it takes the broadcast. And then after getting the data in, it sends the connection out, and sends also the error out, which is then closed by this component called the UDP close. And this is just to show us an error message if there is any. There's also a little delay of 100 milliseconds between each for loop. And now on this part, it checks to see if there's a broadcast or if it's just a remote host. So in this case, the address FFF it's pretty much just a broadcast address. So here it checks to see if it's true or false. If it's true, it's going to send a broadcast message. If it's false, it's going to send a message to the address that we give it to it. Now on this part, here is where we configure who we're going to send it to. So this address is the address of the other computer that we pinged before to send the messages. This port is the one if we're going to use it for our own computer, and then this other port is the one that we're going to use if we're going to send it to another computer. This is just a control to send the number of repetitions to the computer, so we can go as high as we want, and the lowest is going to be most likely 0. And also, this is the box where we're going to put our text or whatever we want to send. In this case, it's communications, and to send text, we just click the run button, and it should send the text to the other computer. On this part, we have the receiver. So again, we have the UDP open. That is going to open the communication, and it has to have an input port, which is the one which we're using to communicate both computers. Now we have the UDP read, because this is going to be the receiver. So it has to read instead of writing data, as opposed to the last one. This works similar to the other one we have, but this one has a timeout of 200 milliseconds to be able to not flood the computer with messages. The connection ID is going to be the same for all 3. Now it also has an option to have a maximum byte and read, so we can clean the cache or clean whatever it's in the text string. Now here we have the UDP close, which also has the connection ID, and it takes the error out. It has also a clock speed of 100 milliseconds, which is the same as the one we had before. And now here we have a bunch of gates. This one is to test if it's equal to 0 or not when we're sending out the data out. And then here we have the addition of whatever we're testing here, if it's a 0. And over here we have a display of what data we received. So in this case statement, what it does is concatenates the strings that we send. So pretty much concatenation is putting a bunch of strings together, and then this is what it's displaying. All the strings that we send, it puts them together, and then it displays them. Now on this part, where we have our visual interface, this is where we configure the program.
So this is the interface where we will see the display of what the sender is sending in this case. So we'll go ahead and run it. The word we're sending, it's communications. So there we run it, running. And over here we can see on the receiver communications. It's important to see that the port is the same number as we mentioned before, and the way we communicate it's through internet using the IP address of the receiver computer. Thank you guys for watching our video. This was lab number 2 for the Laboratory of Introduction to Communication Network, EE3354. My name is David Ramirez.
And my name is Juan Gonzalez.
Thank you for watching our video, and hopefully you guys understood what we said.